Hello everyone, Gentleman here, and welcome to a fun little Epic 7 video. Today I'll be showing you how to go from this to this. That's right, a quick step-by-step guide on how to make your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh card design in the Epic 7 profile card editor for all my fellow Yu-Gi-Oh enjoyers. Feel free to pause the video as you go if you just want to copy the exact format, and then you can tweak things afterwards to your liking. As always guys, please like and subscribe if you found this video helpful, as we are on our way to 500 subs. So yeah, thank you all very much for the support, but okay, on to the video. Okay, so here we are in the profile card editor, and the first thing you need to do it's just a giant gray rectangle, okay? Nothing crazy, right there, darker gray, full transparency. Up next, just do a slightly smaller gray rectangle. In this case, it's gonna be the slightly lower shade of gray at 50 transparency. And this is only so we can create this nice little border over here. After that, you'll just do another giant rectangle, except this time it's gonna be orange. Of course, just place it right in the middle, and give yourself enough space for the borders so they can look a little bit like this. And this is the only reason why I said to make this two different shades of gray. That way we can create this nice little border contrast. However, if you don't like how this looks or you don't care about it, you can always just turn it off and it'll look a little bit more like this, okay? So yeah, in this case, we'll just leave it on. But yeah, the orange rectangle is just gonna be this normal shade of orange at full transparency. And okay, after that, we're basically gonna do the exact same thing for the top border. We're gonna do the gray rectangle. In this case, it's gonna be the slightly lower shade of gray at full transparency. After that, we make another rectangle. This one's gonna be slightly smaller and with a darker shade of gray at 50% transparency, okay? And same thing, we're just creating that nice little border. After that, we'll just do the orange rectangle and slap it right in the middle. Again, just plain orange, full transparency, nothing to it. And now we're basically going to be working our way from top to bottom. So up next, we're going to be doing the stars, okay? So first step, very easy, just do a red circle, okay? Nothing crazy, red, transparency 100%, easy, okay? After that, you can just copy this exact same circle, and then you're just going to make it a little bit smaller, and then make it orange and fit it right inside, okay? And it's going to look like this. So right there, right? Orange circle right in the middle. And for this new one, you do want to tune down the transparency, but you can always play around with this to your liking, depending on how much you want it to be noticeable or how good it looks for you. But okay, after that, we're gonna be doing the stars, of course. And for that, we just do a normal orange star, and we make sure it fits right along the lines of the original circle, okay? From there, what you wanna do is just copy this exact same star, and like we did with the circle, just make it a little bit smaller and now make it yellow, okay? And after that, it should look a little bit like this. So right there, slightly smaller yellow star fitting right in the middle of the slightly bigger orange star. And there you have it, right? Looks pretty good, right? Like has a nice bit of depth to it. It looks kind of shiny. And yeah, after that, you pretty much just want to copy and paste all of these to keep it as consistent as you want once you get the look of the star that you want. And of course, I would recommend maybe starting off with 1 or 2 stars. That way, in case something goes wrong in your card or your sizes are a little bit off, you don't have to go back and fix like so many different stars, right? You can always just go fix one and then finish them off after that. But yeah, as we can see right here, you basically just copy the red circle, then the slightly smaller orange circle, and then the orange star, and then a slightly smaller yellow star. And yeah, we just basically repeat that process. And this is how it looks. Up next, we're gonna be working on the border for the main image we're gonna have in the middle. And exactly the same thing we did before for all of our previous borders. We're just gonna do a gray square-ish in this case. Again, nothing crazy, just a darker shade of gray at full transparency. And then after that, just another rectangle, slightly smaller with again, a slightly lower shade of gray at 50 transparency. And of course, just kind of fix it in a way where you're leaving these borders just like that. And after that, you can pretty much just go ahead and pick whichever image you want. to put on the top. So, okay, in our case, we went ahead and picked this one, okay? And in case you didn't know, you can actually just play around with the border, how big or how small you want it to be, which is how you'll get it to fit on the border that we just created. So right there, if it's right inside of our borders. And again, if you don't like how this looks or you don't care too much for it, or you know, you're having trouble kind of lining it up perfectly, you can always just turn it off. And boom, right? Makes it a lot easier. But of course, you're missing some of that little bit of detail, but you know, it is whatever. In this case, we'll just leave it on. But yeah, from there, whenever you're playing around with your card in the image, you can always just move it, of course, to fit whatever part of the image you want to be the main center of attention. And as a bit of an extra bonus, guys, in case you don't want to pick an image from here, you instead want to select a character. I know it's a little bit tricky, but here's a bit of a trick to get away with it, okay? So number one, let's say you have your character, right? Unfortunately, it's really hard to fit her inside, and if you do, you're gonna have to minimize her quite a lot to be able to make her fit. So what you can do instead is just basically do more rectangles that are the exact same color of your background to be able to hide whatever is sticking out, as we can see right here. Easy, right? Just 2 rectangles, just cover whatever's sticking out, and voila. Now, of course, we still have the conundrum of the background. This looks way too plain. So what you can do is actually go back into one of these images, or this ones, whichever you want, and actually put it behind her, as we can see in this example right over here. This image is gonna be one that you can find from here. Oh, there you go. So it's gonna be that one, right? And yeah, you can basically just move this to your heart's content and give whatever character you want the background that you so desire. And of course, you're gonna have some few little nicks here and there, right? Like in this case, obviously Luna is kind of standing in front of the border itself. So that's gonna be a bit of an issue, right? Even if you get rid of the border, she's still gonna be looking a little bit like this. But, you know, obviously you're gonna have to go in there and just kind of work this little knickknacks here and there. But yeah, real quick piece of advice in case you want to work around and have an actual character instead of just an image. But okay, we're just gonna continue on with our original image to keep it nice and consistent. So there you go. Okay, continuing on. From there, we're gonna be working on the bottom effect text box that we're gonna be getting right over here. And for that, we just gotta do a red rectangle at the bottom, okay? Now, keep in mind this one, you will need to tune down the transparency to about 65%. Just because if you leave it at 100%, you know, it's a little too red, right? That's a little too much. So yeah, we'll keep it at about 65%. From there on, we just do another rectangle on top of it. This one is gonna be orange. It's gonna look like this, okay? Easy peasy. That way we can just create this nice little reddish border around. And again, nothing to it, just orange, full transparency. From there, we will get a little funky and add a white rectangle right on top of this orange rectangle. That way we can give it the exact color we need for the effect text box. So it's gonna look a little bit like this, right? There you go. And boom. And we want to do this because, again, it's not a flat out orange or it's not a flat out white, right? So for this one, we will turn down the transparency of the white rectangle to about 70% to give it that like creamish color that you'll see on most effect text boxes inside of the cards. So there you go. After that, you can do this if you want, maybe not, but I like to add this nice little just red squares on the corners. You can kind of see it on some cards, but yeah, just this is basically the smallest you can make squares. So if you have if you have some issues moving them around, because when they're this small, you pretty much won't be able to pick them up. So what you do is just make them bigger, and you move them a little bit, and then you make them smaller, and then you check if you nailed it, right? So yeah. Up next, we're gonna be adding our first line of text right here at the bottom. And also keep in mind, you can only fit up to 15 characters on these text boxes. So if you want to add more numbers or letters, you're probably going to have to piece together 2 of these to be able to make up what you want to write down, okay? So keep that in mind. On top of that, the reason why we want to add this text right here, right now, is so that way we can get a nice point of reference to how big or small our effect text box is, because this is actually the smallest size of text that we can get. So if this text is already too big, you might want to go back and resize your effect text box, because whatever you want to write down might not be able to fit, okay? So keep that in mind. But of course, right after writing down this text right here, we're going to be doing our black line right on top of it. That way we can separate the attack and defense from the rest of the effect box, okay? So for that, we just gotta make a black rectangle, such as this one. Of course, this is as thin as we can make it. And make sure you don't touch the edges, okay? Kind of important. So as we can see right here, nothing too crazy, just black, fully transparent, 100%. And from there, you can just copy this exact same shape. And then the next one, you will just make it orange, okay? And it will look like this. So easy, right? Exact same shape. You just move this orange rectangle just over that black line, and then just leave enough of it showing to where it creates this nice thin black line, okay? From there, you can just copy this new orange rectangle, and then the new one, you'll just make it white, okay? And then after you do that, it will just be placing that new white rectangle on top of this orange one to be able to give you this. Boom. It completely gets rid of it, okay? As you can see right here, when you add that orange rectangle and that white rectangle, you're basically creating the exact same background color and putting it on top of the black line, which allows you to basically just delete that extra bit of thickness from that black line that we had earlier, like this one, right? So easy peasy. After that, you can just add the yellow square at the bottom, nice little gold decal right there. And yeah, that's gonna take care of that little segment right there. So now we move on to the rest of the card, right? The nice, fun little details. And to start off, we'll start off with the elemental type right here at the top. And since this card is pretty much a water type, we'll just go with that theme, okay? So number one, just create a circle. Very easy. In this case, I chose a light blue circle right here, full transparency. And then you can just copy this circle, put it on top, and then choose a darker shade of blue, as we can see right here. And this one, I did add another bit of lower transparency, so transparency at 40, just to create, again, that nice little effect that we did so with the stars as well. From there, of course, we're gonna add our symbol. However, it's not like we all have some Japanese keyboards laying around, right? And we can just type in whatever symbol we want. But one little trick that you can do is simply go to your browser, go on Google, type, Japanese word for whatever you want, and then just copy it and paste it right over here. And it's that easy, okay? So you can get away with putting any symbol you want. Now, on top of that, you can just leave it as is right here. For this text though, I did add the bold feature, as we can see right here, full transparency, and the size, you can also just play however you want with it, how big, how small you want. But yeah, on top of that, you can always just do another copy of it, like I always do, like a nice little copy of it. And to add some more depth to it, as we've done with some other areas in the card, I just added a black background to make it kind of stand out a little bit more, right? So there you go. And now we get to work on the name, okay? So for me, I just went with a nice family-friendly name, okay? And from the color, I just went ahead and selected the bright yellow, full transparency. The size doesn't really matter. You can just play around with it as big or small as you want it to be. And yeah, from there, you pretty much just copy this text and then you just paste it on top of it, okay? Except for this new line of text, you're just gonna select the other shade of yellow, the more oranges shade of yellow. And yeah, for this one, you're just gonna shift it slightly to the side, right? Because if you just leave it at the top, you're just kind of obviously losing the entire purpose of it. So you just wanna shift it a little bit, and it creates that nice kind of gold look to it, right? If you don't like it, you can always just keep the one line of text, simple enough, right? With whichever shade of yellow or gold that you want. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the name. And finally, you get to be as creative as you want to be with the final piece of text right here at the bottom with whatever fun effect you came up with. So for starters, you pretty much just want to write down the effect or the type of card that it is. And for this text, I did go a little bit bigger at size 24 just because whenever you look at a card, this is a little bit bigger than the effect text. So, you know, I'm just kind of keeping it in that regard. But other than that, just straight up black, full transparency, nothing crazy. And then for the effect itself, I did do the smallest font size, of course. And I did tune down the transparency just a little bit at 90, just to be able to give it that other kind of differentiation from that top text as opposed to the rest of the effect text. And yeah, you know, if you want to keep it at 100, totally up to you. Not that big of a difference. But yeah, from here on, of course, you're just going to have to piece together the entire line of text that you want to write down, because of course you cannot fit all of this in one single text box, right? But okay guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Hopefully this was informative, fun, and easy to follow. Hopefully you enjoy. Please like and subscribe if you want more fun random little videos such as this one. And yeah guys, hopefully you guys can create your own card, and I'll see you on the next one. Laters.